My name's Cliff McKinney, and we're here to talk to you about Work for Pi, Geek Cred Realized. So I want you all to imagine for just a second that you're a hiring manager for one of Tennessee's hottest startups, and you need to hire a software developer, a programmer to go on this excellent adventure with you. Now here are your two candidates, Bill and Ted. No red flags yet, pretty good looking guys. So the first thing you do is you turn to LinkedIn, and you look up their LinkedIn profiles, and this is what you find. Experience that looks exactly the same, and oftentimes that's the case, right? Experience that you can't tell the difference of. There's no discernible qualities that differentiate the two. So you know the resume is a dying thing in the software development world anyway, so you ask for work that they've done. And this is what you get. Thousands of lines of code that you can't make heads or tails of. You have no idea which one is the elegant code that's going to get your business running and which one is full of bugs. And the costs of making this decision are significant. The costs of making the wrong decision are significant. The cost to replace a bad employee is somewhere between 150 and 200% of that employee's salary. That's in addition to what you pay them while they're there. That's $250,000. For a small business, that could mean the death of the company. You're also faced with lost time and productivity for hiring the wrong people, and you're faced with having to do the whole thing all over again. So what are you going to do? Are you going to flip a coin? Are you going to hire both and see which one works out? You can't afford that either, but up until now, that was about your only option, until Work for Pi. Now this is my co-founder Brad's Work for Pi profile. As you can see, it's got everything that we've already seen, right? Resume section, biography, skills, work history, education. It even has a section there where you can take a look at his code, the work that he's done. But what's key for you as a hiring manager is that little score up in the top right-hand corner. That's his Work for Pi score, and that represents validation for him as a software developer. And for you, it means even more. It means the bridge between who you are and the software development talent that you need. That score is money in your pocket. So let's see how we get there. So Brad's going to log on to our beautiful new home page that we just launched a couple of days ago. We've got rankings there, which we're pretty excited about. So he's already a member, so he's just going to sign in. Enter some basic information such as username and password, and also information such as his name, email address, and all of the standard stuff you see in a website. It's about to get a lot better. Because the next thing he's going to do is connect his sites. We pull from the APIs of 4 different sites that I don't know if a lot of you know a lot about. GitHub and Bitbucket are code repositories. They're places where open source developers put their code. Other people can use that code, other people can follow their work, and we look for that information to verify and validate a software developer's talent. We pull from the APIs from those 2 sites, and then we look to softer things, like the ability to communicate, raw intelligence, those kinds of things. And we look to Hacker News and Stack Overflow for information about those things. Hacker News is really the largest content community for software developers and tech types. And Stack Overflow is a question and answer site for software developers. It's a place where you can go and ask questions and answer questions. Both of these sites have reputation systems that are based on the quality of your answers. So we pull information from that and build your score, and it's a really quick and easy process. So that's not all. Brad wants us to be his little corner of the internet, a place where he can really highlight what he's done. So he's going to highlight his code first, and we pull that straight from GitHub and Bitbucket. Then he's going to fill out the standard information that you'd see on a typical resume, such as his biography, his skills that we break out by languages, by frameworks, and by the tools that he uses. He's also going to update his education. As Brian mentioned, he's got a master's degree from Arkansas State. And then finally, he's going to enter his work history. He's a developer, and he's also a co-founder at Work for Pi. But that's not all. We're going to also allow him to customize his profile. We want these portfolios to be your own, a place where you stand out on the internet, a place that you use in your your Twitter URL, a place that you can share these in the signature of your email. So we're going to allow you pick your own background, and really customize it with colors and things like that. So Brad's pretty proud of his profile, and there it is. You've gone up a point. That's good. All right, highlights of his code, his biography, his skills, his work history, his education, links at the bottom to his GitHub, his Bitbucket, his Stack Overflow, and his Hacker News profiles, all in one central location. And then finally, the ability to share. We really think this is key to gaining user adoption. So Brad's going to log into Twitter right now and share his profile. His score is 29. You can check my profile out here and sign up for your own. So that's Work for Pi. Pretty simple, pretty easy, but getting to that score is the real key thing. So let's talk about it a little bit. GitHub and Bitbucket, as I mentioned, are places for software developers to store code. They're open source. In addition to they also host private code. We use those to look for peer-validated talent. When you do open source work, people use that work and make it their own. They also follow your work and follow you as an individual. So we use that for peer-validated talent. And then we look to Stack Overflow and Hacker News for those softer things like helpfulness, curiosity, and just raw intelligence. All of those we bring together in our score. And all of these communities are reputable, they're user-regulated, and they're really difficult to game without real talent and insight. So we've been working on this for about 90 days. And here are some of our accomplishments. We took our technology to the Tennessee Next conference earlier, about a month ago, and we won our track. We won $10,000. We're pretty excited about that and happy. We also released our private beta that same weekend, the 5th of May, which ironically enough is the same day that LinkedIn launched back in 2003. We've made 2 major updates to our site since then. The addition of the Highlight Your Code feature that you saw in the demo, as well as Bitbucket support, and then the major homepage and site redesign that you saw also in the demo. And we've got 200 users so far, and these aren't friends and colleagues. These are people who we don't know who are using our site because they love it. So we're excited about that. But we're not going to stop there. We've got to get from 200 users to 25,000 users. We really think that that's the critical mass we need to do what's next. So we're going to do that by focusing on those users. We know they like data, so we're going to give them more data. We're going to give them additional sources to pull from, such as CodePlex, which is another code repository. We're also going to give them more detailed information about their scores, what their scores are made up of, how they stack up against their peers, things like that. We know our users like style and ease of use. So one of the big things we're working on next is user experience overhaul and a complete profile overhaul. So that profile that you saw Brad's is going to look a lot better in the next 3 or 4 weeks. We also know that our users like a challenge. So we're going to introduce rankings. You saw a bit of that in the homepage on the demo. We're going to break that down even further. So you're going to see your rankings by overall, by your programming language, and by your location. And we're also going to introduce something called the hot list. What we've found that's exciting to us is that people who are great software developers who don't get a great score when they log onto our system aren't abandoning the system altogether. They're actually going back and trying to improve their score over time. So we want to reward them, and we're going to do that with a hot list of people who improve their scores the most over the shortest period of time. And we like smart marketing, so we're going to do a lot of that. We're going to take some money from you good folks, and we're going to sponsor conferences. We're going to influence the influencers. Go to places like RailsConf, DjangoCon, and others, and really get in, win the hearts and minds of the great software developers out there and use their influence to grow our product. We've also earned some advertising through a relationship we have with the developer advocate for Simple Geo, Andrew Major. We're going to have upcoming write-ups in CNET and ZDNet, which we're excited about. And we're going to continue to improve our social media presence. We've got a strong Twitter following, and we're going to continue to improve that over time, and also continue to improve our offerings to share your score, to share your profile, to share your ranking, and those kinds of things. So why is that all important to you in this room? Where's the money? Well, it turns out when you have a large group of talent in one place and you know more information about that talent than just about anybody else, companies, recruiters, hiring managers are willing to pay you a lot of money to get access to that talent. Consider LinkedIn. They're a $9 billion public company right now. They charge $295 for a 30-day job post, and they charge $500 to be able to search through their resume database. Dice.com, which is like the Monster.com for technical talent. They charge $495 for a 30-day job post and $995 to search their resume. $1 billion public company there. And then Stack Overflow, kind of a newcomer to the game and not really their core business, but they do have a career site. They've got $18 million in funding to date, and they charge $350 and $1,000 to search their resumes. So we're going to introduce Work for Pi Careers. We're going to be the world leader in data-driven hiring. $300 per job post, $1,000 to search. So the costs aren't that much different, but the information that you get for that cost is significantly greater. Recruiters are going to be able to search and filter by candidate ranking, how that ranking has grown over time, and a number of other factors so that they have more information about their potential hires than they would from any other source. And we're going to make a lot of money doing it. Stack Overflow Careers right now has 600 job posts for 25,000 users. What that comes out to is about $10.40 per user per month. Now, $10.40 isn't that great, but when you multiply it by a significant number of users, the money really starts to roll in. We're going to turn on our career site when we reach that 25,000 user milestone at the end of month 9, and the very next quarter, we make $1 million. By the time we're finished with our second year, we're making close to $1 million a month on 100,000 users. But we need your help to get there. We're interested in raising $1.9 million in venture capital. This will help us hire 4 developers to help us build out our portfolio and our career sites. We also want to start being the leader in information about companies. We know that hiring great talent doesn't mean a thing if that great talent doesn't fit with your culture and fit with your personal preferences for leadership style and communication style. So we're going to bring on an industrial organizational psychologist to help us start to answer those questions and get data like that about companies. So not only are you hiring the best and the brightest, but you're hiring the best and the brightest for you. We're also going to bring on a designer and 1 marketing expert to help us really get the word out. And then once we turn on the career site, we'd like to bring on an additional sales staff of 4 regionally based people to help us reach out to recruiters and hiring managers. By month 10, we're cash flow positive for the first time. And in the future, we think that the revenue potential is somewhere in the low 10s to, or high 10s to low 100s of millions of dollars. And we get that from Dice.com. Again, I said it's the Monster.com of technical hiring right now. They're scheduled to make $177 million top line this year, 65% of that coming from Dice.com, or Dice.com alone. And we really think we can replace them as the go-to place for hiring technical talent. So in closing, I'll leave you with this. There are 1.3 million software developers in the United States right now, and the profession itself is expected to grow by just shy of 25% over the next 10 years. That's 275 jobs created. We really think that we can help make that process easier for companies everywhere and get some great people in that job. So we think the decision is easy. Who are you going to go with? We're Work for Pi. I'm Cliff. My co-founder Brad there. Thank you very much.